So today we're going to dive into the epic history of Wales. And really, it's a story all about survival, about rebellion, and about this incredible identity that's been forged over thousands of years, all while living right next door to a much, much bigger neighbor. So yeah, that's really the big question here, isn't it? How does a nation, a culture, survive for 2,000 years with a giant right on its doorstep? We're talking Roman legions, Norman invaders, massive industrial change. Through it all, Wales has been fighting to be itself. So let's get into it. This is a story of pure persistence. Okay, so to really get this story, we have to go back, way back, long before Wales was even called Wales. I mean, we're talking about a human presence stretching back a staggering 230,000 years to the Neanderthals. It's just mind-blowing. After the last ice age cleared out, around 9000 BC, people started settling here for good. And you can still see their legacy today in these incredible ancient stone tombs. And then eventually the Celtic tribes show up, and they're the ones who really start to shape the culture we recognize today. And then the Romans arrived. In AD 48, the massive, unstoppable machine of the Roman Empire sets its sights on the tribes living here, and it was a brutal 30-year fight to conquer the land. The Welsh tribes, led by heroes like Caratacus, put up a heck of a fight, but in the end, Rome won. What followed was 300 years of occupation, and right here, this sets the stage for everything to come. A long, long history of invasion and fierce local defiance. So, fast forward a bit. The Romans pack up and leave, and Britain is, well, it's in chaos. This is when a really crucial thing happens. Anglo-Saxon tribes start invading from the east, and they push the native Britons further and further west. Now, the Anglo-Saxons had a name for these people, Walha, which basically means foreigner or stranger. Kind of ironic, right? But in response, the Britons started calling themselves Waisimri, the countrymen or fellow Britons. And right there, in that moment of being pushed out and called foreigners, the idea of us, the idea of a distinct Welsh people, was really born. So this new identity, it's forged in this cauldron of division. For the next 500 years, Wales isn't one country. It's this patchwork of different independent kingdoms. You've got powerful ones like Gwynedd up north and Powys in the east, and they are in a constant fight for their lives. They're getting squeezed by the English kingdom of Mercia on one side, who even built that massive ditch, Offa's Dyke, to mark the border. And on the other side, you've got Viking longships raiding the coasts. It was a tough neighborhood, for sure. So think about that for a second. All this time, all these different kingdoms, constant fighting. How many rulers in all of Welsh history do you think actually managed to unite the entire country under one king? Any guesses? The answer is pretty shocking. It's just one. Yeah, just one guy. And that tells you everything you need to know about how divided things were. The one exception to the rule was a man named Gruffydd ap Llywelyn. Through sheer force of will and conquest, he actually became king of all Wales in 1057. But here's the kicker. It only lasted for about 7 years. As soon as he died in 1063, his kingdom just shattered, and Wales went right back to being a collection of rival kingdoms. And get this, just 3 years after that brief, fleeting moment of unity, the whole game changes. 1066, the Norman conquest of England. All of a sudden, the threat on the Welsh border isn't just another Anglo-Saxon kingdom. It's a new, ruthless, highly organized military power. The fight for survival just got a whole lot harder. This new Norman threat really ushers in what we call the Age of the Princes. It was kind of the high point of medieval Welsh resistance. And leading the charge were two incredible rulers from the northern kingdom of Gwynedd. First, you have Llywelyn the Great, who pretty much became the de facto ruler of most of Wales. And then his grandson, Llywelyn the Last, who actually got the English crown to officially recognize him as the Prince of Wales. A huge deal. But, like so many moments in this story, this peak of Welsh power ends in absolute tragedy. In 1282, in the middle of a war with King Edward I of England, Llywelyn the Last is lured into an ambush and killed. His brother is captured and executed a year later. And just like that, the dream of an independent Wales is snuffed out. By 1284, Edward I formally annexes the entire country. The conquest is complete. For more than 100 years, Wales is under English rule. But it's simmering. The resentment is there. And then, in the year 1400, a Welsh nobleman named Owen Glyndŵr ignites the last great rebellion. And for a while, it was unbelievably successful. He united the Welsh people. He was crowned Prince of Wales. He even held his own national parliament and got allies in France and Spain. For a fleeting moment, it looked like an independent Wales was actually back on the table.
Well, you can probably guess what happened next. The English response was swift and absolutely brutal. After about a decade of fighting, the rebellion was finally crushed. And to make sure nothing like this could ever happen again, the English crown brought down the hammer. They imposed these incredibly harsh penal laws. We're talking about laws that forbade Welsh people from carrying weapons, from holding any public office, from even living inside a fortified town. They were designed to do one thing: make the Welsh second-class citizens in their own land and break their spirit for good.
Okay, so a century later, we get another twist. King Henry VIII, who, funnily enough, was very proud of his Welsh roots, passes the Laws in Wales Acts. This is it. This is the moment Wales is fully, legally incorporated into England. Welsh law is gone. English is now the official language. It seems like the end of the line. But just as political Wales disappears, something amazing happens for cultural Wales. A man named William Morgan translates the entire Bible into Welsh. And this one book, it's absolutely crucial. It basically saves the Welsh language, keeping it alive in churches and homes for centuries to come. So the next huge chapter in the Welsh story isn't about princes or rebellions. It's written in coal and forged in iron. The Industrial Revolution slams into South Wales like a tidal wave. All these quiet green valleys are completely transformed. They become the engine room of the British Empire, a global powerhouse for coal and steel.
And the scale of this change is it's hard to wrap your head around. I mean, look at these numbers. In 1801, the population of Wales is about 587,000. By 1911, it's almost 2.5 million. It more than quadrupled in just over a century. A complete population explosion, with people pouring into the south to work in the mines and the ironworks.
But this industrial boom was definitely a double-edged sword. Sure, it created immense wealth for the owners. For the thousands of workers, it usually meant tough lives, dangerous work, and a lot of social unrest. But out of this industrial fire, a new kind of modern Welsh identity was forged, one that wasn't about ancient kingdoms, but about community, trade unions, local chapels, and a powerful new political voice, the Labour Party. Then, in the 20th century, those massive industries start to decline, and a new political idea starts to grow. In 1925, a party called Plaid Cymru was founded, dedicated to Welsh self-government. For a while, it's a fringe movement, but then certain events start to light a fire under modern nationalism. The big one was in 1965, when a whole Welsh valley, Tryweryn, was deliberately flooded to create a reservoir for the English city of Liverpool. For many in Wales, this was the ultimate symbol of being powerless, of their country being treated like a resource for someone else. It sparked national outrage and really fueled the movement for self-government. And this growing feeling led to a huge political showdown. In 1979, they held a vote on whether to create a Welsh assembly. And it got absolutely crushed. 4 out of 5 people voted no. It seemed like a dead issue. But fast forward just 18 years to 1997, they vote again. And this time, it passes. By the absolute slimmest of margins, just 50.3%. It was a political earthquake, a complete reversal. That tiny, razor-thin majority changed everything. In 1999, the National Assembly for Wales opened its doors. You have to think about this. For the first time in more than 600 years, since the rebellion of Owain Glyndwr, Wales had its own national government. Today, we call it the Senedd, the Welsh Parliament, and it has real law-making powers over huge parts of Welsh life. So, this incredible wind-in journey through thousands of years brings us right up to today, and it leaves us with a really fascinating question. After all that, after centuries of surviving invasion, assimilation, and massive economic change, to finally get a parliament of its own, does that mean the journey of Welsh identity is complete? Or is this new era of self-government just the beginning of a whole new chapter? If you enjoyed this deep dive into Welsh history, you should definitely check out the other videos in our Quick Country Histories playlist. And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to Notebook Summaries for more explainers just like this one. Thanks for watching.